Well, I want to put out something, kind of an update on something, because I put out something about the Soviet Woodpecker signal that was turned back on as of December 2013. It came out, and it's actually, you could read it on Wikipedia. It's not bullshit. It's not some, theory, science fiction, or whatever. They actually picked up an over-horizon type of signal from the Soviet Union back in 1976, and suddenly it stopped in 1989. Now, I mentioned that Dr. Robert C. Beck actually talked about this stuff before, and it's not 100% known what the hell it's for. It's like, they were thinking it had to do with mind control, it had to do with, I don't really know, man. I can tell you it could be a lot more sinister than that. So I'm going to put this out here. I put something out about Noah's Ark. It was actually a scientific, I just did a last video on it, Noah's Ark. It was actually a scientific study that, Noah's Ark could have actually floated 70,000 animals, right? And, well, somebody alerted me to something else. I'm actually going to put a link down there if you want to look at it, because, people into the Noah's Ark phenomenon got the science, too, to where it could have happened, too, so... you really don't know with this stuff, but I want to get up to something here more current, because the Soviet Woodpecker signal came back December 3rd, 2013. It's kind of dealing into some weird shit here, I guess, but I don't really think it's that weird, because it's real. The signal came back. The one that's reported on it are shortwave people. So, but it's been conjectured that it can actually do a lot more than just mind control or affect the population's mood. It can actually kill, biologically damage, and all this type of stuff. Now, actually, I want to go point to something. They call it the, I'm not going to say it right. I'm going to actually use the words, and I'll write it down in an information box. You look it up yourself. It's the Kaznacheyev experiments. It was actually a Russian scientist. I think he was given some Stalin Award or something like that. He proved that death can be actually administered through some... I don't know how this works, but it's like it can be done through some type of energy. I don't understand this stuff, but it was proven over and over and over again that this can happen. You can actually administer like a death ray from a distance. Now, Tesla talked about some of this stuff back in the 30s, about before we got involved in World War II, that there was ways that he could stop planes, even hundreds of planes coming into the United States, and the newspapers dubbed it the death ray. But I don't think he was talking about killing people. It was more or less stopping planes. But there's actually this, I'm going to tell you this, the people in Russia, they got some serious engineering potential. And I'm going to point to something else. It's actually a YouTube video. I don't want to dramatize this too much, and I don't know if this, I don't really think this is going to be a popular video, maybe not, I don't know. I realize sometimes the stupidest things in the world are the most popular, but it's probably going to be more legit. But, I don't know what the answer is. So this thing could be something so bad, so overwhelming, that your answer might be religion. All right? So, I put out about the Noah's Ark. You think you got no hope in the world for something or against overwhelming odds. What do people do? What do people do then? They turn to God, because it's a last-ditch effort, right? They do. You think you ain't going to survive. What do? Right? You pray to something, right? That's a fact. So I'm not here to scare the crap out of people, but you might find this kind of interesting, because I'm putting out reality here, first off. The reality is, they call it the Russian Woodpecker signal. That wasn't BS. It's in Wikipedia. It's approximately 10.8 hertz. It's this big, freaking loud signal, like you can't hear it with your ears, but you can get it on the short wave. interferes with communications. It went from 1976 to 1989. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the freaking signal stopped. Well, it's back as of December 2013. Now, there's been a lot of conjectures what the hell it's for. I know Dr. Robert C. Beck, the one with the Beck Protocol, which I don't know 100% about how legit this guy is and all these. He kind of like, I don't know what the deal is with this guy, to tell you the truth. He's a little bit, he's not stupid, but he's a little bit of a BS artist, maybe. You might want to say that, But he conjectured that, he's tied in with the government a lot. So, I mean, that's really what it is. Maybe not a BS artist, but he was tied in with the government a lot. So, and intelligence, too. So, you don't really know everything he said was not entirely accurate. But he did say that it could be used for mind control. But looking at these things, this is not BS, too. This is something else unrelated, way before the Woodpecker signal. And it's called the Kaznacheyev experiments. I'll spell that correctly in the information box. Basically, they can send death from a distance. Like if there's something reverberating in a cell that's a dead cell, they could send that signal at a distance. And I don't know what the hell the deal is with this stupid Russian Woodpecker signal. I don't like it, to tell you the truth. It's supposedly back, it's not in the major media, and I'm thinking it's something bad. So anyway, basically it's a type of, they knew about this for many years. Actually, Soviet scalar electromagnetic weapons. There's, they can use like a nest of several Tesla shields. I don't understand this stuff. But basically it can fry electronics at a distance. Sometimes they're reported about unknown lights over the ocean and stuff like that. Maybe that was a natural phenomena. Maybe it wasn't a natural phenomena. But I want to point to something here. There's a video out there that's talking. It's Vladimir Zhirinovsky. He's the head of the Duma for his party or something like that. He's a colonel in our Russian army. He's been a political figure in a Russian Communist Party for, I don't know, many years. He talked at the time of the Japanese tsunami. I mean, it's not a rumor. He's actually stating it in Russian, that Russian secret weapons caused that tsunami. But he also stated further that they got special types of weapons that could put entire populations to sleep forever in the hundreds of millions. And, when I look at these other experiments they've had since the 30s, when Stalin, or the 40s, or whatever it was, when Stalin was around, the Kaznacheyev experiments, where they were actually proven, that they could actually send, not to a person, but it was to cells. They were using it on cells. They could send a death signal from some cells that are dying to other healthy cells over here and actually kill them. It's been proven. This guy got the Stalin Award for it. And, I don't know what the deal is with this shit, but it ain't cool. So, it could be overwhelming. So, sometimes if something really, really crazy happens, I know what people do then. Everybody gets religious. Everybody. If it gets really, really dangerous and the odds are overwhelming, everybody gets religious. Like, I'm not religious. I try to be really super rational all the time. But if the odds are overwhelming, you get religious. You do. There's no doubt about it. And, this might be something that the Russians have because, from all my research over the decades, people were saying, no, that ain't true. About Major Anatoly Golitsyn stating beforehand that the dissolution of the Soviet Union was planned. He said it was years. He actually said it back in the 70s that all that stuff was going to come about. And they're playing a long-range game where they're bringing technology from the West by befriending the West, and they get a lot more from the West by being friends. But it's a game they're playing for the long run, and they want to be on top of the world for, the New World Order. They're not against the New World Order, but they want to be the top dog. Actually, I saw something from President Bush recently. They showed some of his paintings. Ex-president, former President Bush, not the elder, the younger. He's a painter now. He's painting pictures, and he's got one of Vladimir Putin, and he's put him as a stone-faced type of guy in the painting. And he had an interesting story. And this is how I read Vladimir Putin too. I'm really getting sick of these freaking cheerleaders for Vladimir Putin out here, and I got no use for him whatsoever. But he could be BSing about the story, but this is how I read Vladimir Putin also. He talked about, George Bush talked about he had this Scottish Terrier dog, and he called it Barney. It was a little cute Scottish Terrier dog, black one, it was, just a friendly little dog, and he had a cat named Bob, B-O-B, that wandered onto the ranch, and he adopted it. They're nice people in between. I don't want to get into this shit. Everybody's going to say about the drone attacks and shit like that, but I'm going to tell you right now, when you're going after an enemy, use best of weapons you got. That's the way I look at it. I don't give a shit what you think about that, because I know immediately there's knee-jerk reactions against any president out there. But he had this Scottish Terrier dog, and Vladimir Putin saw the dog, and he says, when a daughter was around a dog, he says, "You call that a dog? What the hell is that thing? It's just a little freaking nothing, it's a joke, right?" And Vladimir Putin actually is a short guy. I think he's like 5'4", 5'5". He's just short in stature. He's kind of got like, they might call it the classic Napoleon complex, But later on, George Bush is over where Vladimir Putin is or something, and Vladimir Putin shows him his dog, and he's got this big, huge black Labrador, and he goes to George Bush, he goes, here's my dog, better than Barney, faster, stronger, bigger. And, Bush said, that's pretty interesting. A guy says, that's a pretty interesting character when a guy compares and says, my dog's bigger than your dog. It's almost like he's got a complex on something, And he also said that, and Bush said this, and this is how I read it too. There's no such thing as the USA and Russia benefiting together. It's like, in his mind, in Vladimir Putin's mind, according to George Bush, and I really kind of see it this way, either Russia benefits, and if the United States benefits, that means that Russia is not benefiting. That's how he thinks. There's no such thing as like mutual cooperation for anything. So I think this guy is on like a total war footing with the United States, and everything he puts out there through like Russia Today, and you notice like the guy that was the head of the propaganda outlet out there in Russia. Yeah, he was talking when they were invading Crimea that Russia could still turn the United States into radioactive dust. Basically, that's Vladimir Putin saying that directly because he hand-appointed this guy. So, we got some weird shit coming up, man. I hate to say it. I don't think it's coming up this year or next year, but it's going to be coming up at one point in time. What got me thinking, though, was about the Russian Woodpecker signal coming back. And, it's never been determined what the hell that signal has been for. It's supposedly in the 10.8 hertz frequency range, which is more of a disrupting type frequency. Now, if they were mimicking the Earth frequency of 7.83, it would probably be beneficial. But it's not, from what it can be told. And looking at some other information out there, it is possible, and they have known this for decades, Russian scientists, they have known how to send death from frequencies. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a death signal or not, but if you look at what Vladimir Zhirinovsky said, he threatened that Russia has those weapons, and they can annihilate hundreds of millions of people in the world with special weapons. I'll actually point to the exact part of the video where he says that. So it's not like, maybe I don't have proof, but here these guys are actually stating this, And this guy's been a powerhouse in Russian politics for a long time, Vladimir Zhirinovsky, another Vlad. But I also just have to state that Russian scientists have known for many, many, many years and proved it many, many times over, like maybe not with a large organism, but with a group of cells, that they can send death from a distance through, I don't know how it was, some kind of scalar quantum mechanics. I'm throwing big words out there. I don't understand this stuff, and I don't think even the best scientists understand it, but it's called a type of effect. It's the Kaznacheyev experiments, and it's been proven over and over again. Actually, this guy got an award from Stalin. So, we might be coming into some interesting times here. So, I know one thing that I do on a daily basis, though, is I use the, it's probably a joke that, what the hell would it do if it was something really bad, but, say there's some kind of waves that the Soviets are sending over to us. We'll call them the Soviets now instead of the Russians. I use the Soda Instruments biotuner. I use setting 3, which has the Schumann Earth resonance. I don't feel like any kind of bad vibes or anything, but I use that device for 2 20-minute sessions a day. I also use the Lukovsky coil. I'm using it about 30 minutes a day instead of an hour, because I'm like, man, an hour is like a long time, but it feels like it gives me more energy and stuff, and I don't feel like I'm being affected by any kind of these weird things I mentioned here, but I'm going to state, though, that it's a fact. It's not something that's conjecture. The capability's been there. Vladimir Zhirinovsky brags about this capability. And just recently, as of December 2013, the Russian Woodpecker signal has come back. Now, supposedly it converges from, it used to be. It came from over the horizon from 2 different directions, and it converged over the United States. I don't know what the hell it's there for, or what it's supposed to do, or what. I have no freaking idea, to tell you the truth. But, it may be something to do with people's negative attitudes, too. Who knows? It may be something to affect people and put them in a less positive mind or something. I really don't know what the hell it's for, but it is back. It is back. And it was proven that it existed for quite a few years, from 1976 to 1989. You could look it up. It's right mainstream and everything else. Not really bragged about a lot in mainstream, but it's there. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's an actual fact. So, the emphasis is always on the West with HAARP. Who the hell knows? There's probably a lot of shit going on that we don't understand. So, actually, if you want to talk about the evildoers in the world and, what's going to happen long run, a lot of people that are not religious now, like I'm not really super religious or nothing, but it's like, I realize the basic truth there, In the long run, the good's going to win over the bad. And it's going to take some extra something coming from nowhere, or someplace, or God, or Jesus himself, or something, that's actually going to do it, right? And, I think when people get between a rock and a hard place, and they have absolutely no options, and they think it's impossible, that's when people, even atheists, become religious. They do. Now, this is something I'm kind of glossing over pretty fast, because it's such a complicated subject. No matter how deeply I got into this, I wouldn't understand it completely, and it's it gets into quantum mechanics, scalar quantum mechanics, and all these stuff I don't understand, and I think even the experts don't understand. But it has been proven that Russian scientists have been known for years how to actually send death from a distance. There's also been proven where they can use these Tesla shields to destroy electronics from a distance, and anything flying through them, it will be destroyed electronically. I don't know what the hell we have. I mean, if we have stuff like that, it's probably super secret, But in the meantime, those who are not connected are going to get screwed up, So, anyway, I just forgot to put this out here because, You know, some of the stuff out there with all the conspiracies and all this bad stuff that might happen in the future, it might happen. It might. I hope not. I hope not. I think George Bush needs a bigger dog, maybe. I don't know. I'm just kidding about that. Maybe that's not the problem, but that does state a lot about, you know, that little story I put out. Actually, it's related from him. Now, maybe you don't trust George Bush or something, but that's how I read Vladimir Putin, too. The guy's got a major ego problem to the max. You know? He thinks he's God on earth, you know? And it's almost like bigger is better. You know, Russia and la and all this kind of shit. You know, I like Medvedev a lot better. He kind of like was more of a chilled out Russian leader, that there would be hope for the people over there for more true freedom, you know, instead of the egomaniac that is unfortunately, you know, I mean, it's almost like we could say our president's taller than Vladimir Putin, so that's bigger and better and whatever. You elect a leader that's the strongest. You know, maybe we need Jesse Ventura for president, so then we'd have the biggest, baddest president, and he could body slam Vladimir Putin with his judo suit on and crumple him up into a little ball and throw him away into a trash can. You know, but that's not really what leads the whole country. It's not one man that's getting into dictatorship territory, and that's not the way it works in the United States. But we might have some weird shit coming up here. I figured I'd put this out here. I'm going to put some more information down in the information box if you want to pursue this further. And also want to put out that, you know, some of these things I'm putting about frequencies, you know, I'm talking about them weaponized. And what I always figured, you know, there's a lot of things you could do with healing with frequencies and stuff like that. For real, I think, and I can't make claims on that. I'm not going to make claims on it. I'm going to say it's all experimental. But I figured if there's something that could be good for frequencies, some yo-yo already weaponized it a long time ago. It's pretty much like, you know, what do they do with the atomic energy? The first thing they did was they didn't freaking try to make it so they can light up houses and make electric cars and stuff like that, and you know, have all kinds of manufacturing with electricity. No, they got to blow up cities in Japan, right? So I got a feeling they weaponize the frequencies a lot too. But there's a lot you could do with these frequencies too to actually rejuvenate, extend life, and all this other shit. Just hopefully that the bad guys won't lose out. And actually, they probably will lose out in the long run, because what I've always noticed with smart people is they always outsmart themselves. That's a fact, man. That's simple common sense 101. They always outsmart themselves, man. You know, the smarter they are, the more they freaking paint themselves in a corner. So, anyway, over that, I figured this should be kind of a weird update on something that is not going to be on YouTube. And, you know, I don't even know if this video will be popular or not. Who the hell knows? You know, I found out if I put out some stuff that's not the best research, or, you know, that's more of a giddy rumor, it takes off like a rocket ship. But that's not the way I'm going to do things. I'm going to do things that are, like, honest. And, you know, this, I think, is is an honest concern that people should have. And I don't really know what the hell to do about it. But the Russian woodpecker signal is back, and there is the potential, I think, for it to be weaponized against populations. So again, I'm going to point out to that link on the bottom where Vladimir Zhirinovsky brags about secret weapons that the Soviets have, or I'll call it, they're Russians today, but I think they never deviated from their mission. And he says they will use them in the future if they don't, subject themselves to the will of Russia. So we got several versions of the New World Order coming at us. I don't like it. We got the jackasses in the West playing the game, you know. George Bush Sr. was with the New World Order speech, and we got the Soviets playing their game too. And it's probably going to lead to a big clash. And you know, I'm not really religious, but if you want to think about it, that's probably going to be the Battle of Armageddon, ain't it? I don't know. I hope I'm freaking wrong, tell you the truth. I don't want this shit to happen, tell you the truth. I don't want it to happen, but it might. It might. So, and when you get into insurmountable odds, that's where people get religious. They do. Everybody. Atheists included.